I am he as you are me, and we are all together in this episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series. Welcome from weird song lyrics to a weird Lego theme. Today we're going to be talking all about Galidor, that weird Lego theme that almost killed the Lego company, but it didn't. It kind of had a bit of a resurgence, this Galidor theme. It came back with a vengeance, as we weren't really getting any CCBS stuff at the time, and kind of collectively the Bionicle community was just kind of like, hey, you know what, this Galidor thing wasn't that bad. And a lot of people started to play with it, and to really great avail. The last Galidor episode I did, that was before that movement, if that's what you want to call it. So I wanted to do another Galidor episode and really focus on some of those awesome mocks that people did where they really played with those Galidor pieces. So I'm going to have a bit of a study about Galidor, if you will. I'm going to just talk about different ways that you could use it, or in general, just kind of the principle of playing with more obscure pieces and how you can kind of get really creative with those. So even if you don't have any Galidor pieces, you might be going like, yeah, look, Ben, I don't want to make any Galidor stuff. I don't have any Galidor pieces to play with. There's some principles and stuff we'll explore in this episode that definitely will still inspire you. So I would say stay tuned. You never know what you might learn. Anyway, let's dive on into the first mock. The first of 8 Galidor mocks today. This is by Logan W. and is called Galidorean Tree Frog. Great name. So I love this. Those stickers there really, well, let me just point out, the eyes on this mock, those are actually stickers. Really cool, isn't it? The torso here, I thought it was a Duplo piece until I read the comments. Turns out this piece, and I'm going to be covering a lot of the individual Galidor pieces in this episode. I'd hate to just be like, you should know where this is from, because you shouldn't. So I'm going to individually kind of go through a lot more of them so that if you are planning on picking up some Galidor, you know specifically what you can grab. But the main sort of body part that's also kind of forming the head of this tree frog here is the torso from this set here. Allegra, I believe her name is. And so the stickers have been placed there on the torso to kind of give it more of a, an actual head look with eyes and stuff. And then the area where you would attach the actual head of Allegra there kind of acts as this funky mouth. It kind of looks like his mouth is open and he's croaking away. I actually really like that. I think that's a really cool idea to kind of play off of some of the connection points that naturally exist on some of those pieces and use them to your advantage, because that in itself is a really clever and creative thing to do. And yeah, it adds a bit more character to this mock. It does look like he's got this funny shaped mouth or something like that. It's pretty cool to see. So the other Galidor pieces on here, they can either come in the set known as Uni, but also these sort of general limb pieces come in a whole different bunch of other colors. Of course, they're being used here in the red or dark red, I believe. Dark red, red. Well, in some sets they seem to come in dark red, but I guess they also come in red in other sets. I don't know, the Bricklink listing I have here says dark red, but they also come in red. There you go. Confusion has been solved. Besides the point, here's what they're called on Bricklink. Galidor limb, organic short with 1 dark grey socket and 1 dark grey pin, 6 times 3 times 2. Confusing name, but if you Google that on Bricklink, you'll find what you need. So of course those bunch of limb pieces here have been used to create the actual limbs on this, and you actually can get a decent amount of articulation from them. You take a look at the back of the legs here. Really interesting angle that's created on them, and it does kind of very much resemble sort of frog legs to some degree, and I love it. It's also really interesting to note as well how the system pieces, specifically on sort of the front kind of arms, not really arms, but the front legs there, those system pieces, texture-wise, they flow perfectly into those Galidor pieces. So if you are planning on playing with some Galidor, you could really easily integrate some system pieces in there, because like we see here, it works really, really well. And then speaking about integrating some system pieces here, we take a look at the fingers, or the little toes, or whatever you want to call them, on this mock here, using those triaxle pieces. Awesome piece, that triaxle piece, really a favorite of the Bionicle Inspiration series. Love that part. Using them here to really create this this 3-toe look that very much resembles a frog, and then having the toes end in either ball joints or minifigure helmets. Super, super cool. Looks great, really effectively resembles the inspiration behind this, and looks super cool. So yeah, some nice system, Bionicle technic integration, really kind of putting a lot of different pieces from a lot of different themes in this one here. Looks super, super cool. As I know, what we were talking about before of integrating some more obscure, interesting, random pieces into your collection there. Simply adding some stickers in there on a pre-existing piece does a lot for that part. So maybe look at your stickers and see if you can attach it onto some pre-existing part. And you never know, it might totally reinvent that part and you can use it in a funky, interesting way. Super cool. I don't know exactly where those stickers come from. Like I said, they looked kind of Duplo-like, so maybe it's from a Duplo set. But besides the point, you'd easily be able to find some googly eyes or stickers anywhere, whether they're official or not, and see what you can do with them. Super cool. Let's move on to the next mock. This is by Dylan Meaves and is called Scropio X7. So quite like this. This one here mainly just uses pieces from the Galidor set known as Gens. take a look at the inventory here on Gens, and he's got a whole bunch of different crazy pieces in him. I actually have this Galidor set, one of the 2 that I own. It's a really, really nice set, some great pieces. Of course, silver's a color that's pretty easy to work with, I would argue. So that's super cool and super helpful. So by all means, I would definitely recommend picking him up if you're looking on playing around with some cool Galidor parts. So I like the kind of classic Bionicle throwback that this set has. Kind of reminds me of the old Nui Jaga, one of the scorpion Rahi creatures from early Bionicle, and I like that. It's just interesting to note here just how much Bionicle and Galidor really kind of flow into one another. There's a really strong Bionicle kind of aesthetical look to this mock, even though it is not made out of any Bionicle pieces, and I like that. You know, and seeing these Gens gun pieces here being used as a sort of more robotic-looking style kind of pincer for a scorpion there. That's awesome. And then I love how the Gens head has been flipped on its side here. And then the kind of mohawk bit that actually kind of pops out on the Gens head there. You sort of twist a specific part of the head there, and those sort of pop out or pop back in. Of course, they're popped in here on the image, but it kind of looks like he's got a whole bunch of different eyes, like he is some sort of funky robotic scorpion with lots of different eyes. It's really, really cool to see. I really, really like it. And now the torso here, I think this is a really cool Galidor part. This actually comes on the set Uni, which we were talking about before, and we'll talk a little bit more about later on in the episode here. This piece is Galidor connector block 6x6x3 with 3 sockets and 1 light gray pin. It's a good piece. Comes in just dark grey. You can buy it pretty cheap on Bricklink, actually. Just scrolling through here, you can buy it for a hot 30 cents, all the way down to 70 cents. It's, depending on the places you're shopping, it's pretty cheap. And actually, a lot of Galidor's a little bit cheap too. I'll cover some other prices of sets as we continue the episode. So if you are looking on buying it, it's relatively affordable, I would argue. Whether that's on Bricklink or eBay, that's up to you. But yeah, using that specific piece that we were referring to before on Bricklink there to kind of form the basic sort of general structure of the body there. It attaches all the legs and it kind of connects everything. It's sort of the major piece to be focusing on here. It's a pretty cool Galidor part and it works very nicely here. That's for sure. And also, I love just the kind of general, overall concept with this. Just getting a whole bunch of random different Galidor pieces and simply just using those, creating something. A little Rahi scorpion guy, or just a cool looking dude, or whatever you want to make. Purely just using Galidor pieces, can you do that? Reminds me of early Bionicle or early Hero Factory days where you just kind of want to play around with the system. And so you buy a couple sets, you take them apart, you just use those pieces, and you just see what you can make with the pieces you've got. You're not really even focusing on it looking any good or whatever. You're just learning with the parts. That's always a fun activity to do, or an interesting activity you could do to kind of just get out of a mocking block. Just go like, hey, I don't care about, what this needs to look like or what this is going to be or any end result. I'm just learning here. I'm just going to play with these pieces, see where this takes me. You never know what you might come up with. You might actually end up with a fully furbished, amazing, beautiful looking mock. Or you might just be like, well, this looks awful, but you know what? I learned something new today. I learned how you can connect these 2 funky pieces. Maybe I can put that in a mock in the future. So I like that. A really fun exercise that Dylan's done here. He's also got a few other Galidor mocks on his page, so be sure to check out some of the other stuff he's done. He's made some cool Galidor stuff. Very cool. So on to the next mock here. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Ben, I don't have any Galidor. Why would I do this? I prefer my system, my Bionicle, my Hero Factory. This Galidor theme is not for me. I get you. I hear you. This is a mock by Matt Goldberg and is called Toa Goruhm or something like that. And this mock, just to my knowledge, unless I'm missing something, only uses 1 Galidor piece. And that is from the Galidor set known as Gorm. And this is Galidor Torso Gorm with purple rib sockets and midriff getting scandalous and purple chest pattern. Super complex name, but a super, super cool piece. And amazing in my opinion because I think this one part really ties the whole mock together. The funky textures and patterns on it, just the general kind of look of it and everything. It's got a lot going for it. This piece just looks really nice. And then you add some arms and torsos and legs and a head and all sorts of other stuff to it. You got a really, really nice mock. And honestly, I think a lot of the cool factor of this mock comes from that one part. And whether you're building with Galidor or you're just purely building with Hero Factory or Bionicle or whatever you're making, you don't have Galidor at all, or you do have some Galidor, it's up to you. Whatever you've got. I think it's safe to say that you can do that. Get one part that just looks super cool. It's really this nice accent point of the mock. And just have that be the main focal point, whether that's on the torso or the head or like a gun or something like that. It doesn't matter. Just put it in the mock and you go like, this piece just looks nice. Putting it on, it's going to work well on this mock. Maybe you're lucky enough to have some sort of exclusive misprinted part. Just shove it on your mock. Anywhere, doesn't matter. People are going to think it looks cool anyway. So I think that's something to do. And I think using some Galidor pieces here is a really great example of doing that, just getting one piece that can really tie the whole mock together or really accentuate it in some way. Yeah, you take a look at a whole bunch of different Galidor pieces. Some of them are just beautiful. Some of them have a lot of different individual details on them. They're so unique and so out there and so interesting. They kind of just lend themselves to being pieces you can use really creatively and really cleverly. It's awesome to see. So it's something to consider. Maybe buy some Galidor pieces, put them in a mock like this. Only even use 1 or 2 of them. Just go on Bricklink and you're doing your Bricklink order and you go, I'm just going to order like 1 Galidor part. I said before, they're like 30 cents. Let's look at this Goruhm torso now. How much does it cost? If you want to buy a Goruhm torso, you can buy one right now for 60 cents or 72 cents or $1. The rough kind of average things here from what I'm seeing on Bricklink, just looking at the first one that comes up is, like I said, 60 cents, and it ranges anywhere from about $1, $2 to $3. That's it. Most expensive one that I'm seeing right now is $3.30 from the Netherlands. There you go. And that's Australian dollars too. Ha, 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 ha. We haven't even converted it to your local currency. That's nothing. That's nothing. It's super cheap, super easy, and affordable. So there you go. Something to consider. But if you're not much of a buying man, like I said, you could do it with any type of piece that looks cool. There you go. Lots we've learnt. Lots that's super cool. Overall, super cool mock. Love all the Hero Factory integration here. Love this interesting ray gun here. Looks awesome combining... Actually, I think that is another Galidor piece on the back there. My plan, I've been bamboozled. There's 2 Galidor pieces on this. I lied. I'm sorry, I didn't know. But still, using that larger Hero Factory piece there and combining it with those things, there's this beautiful sci-fi look to it. Very smooth and beautiful and pretty. Very simple limbs, really, but combining it with that Galidor, so like I said, it just makes it pop. Looks super, super cool. So there you go. Nice work. On to the next mock by Ryan Howerter. This is called Mazahar Twins. According to the description here, one always lies, the other always tells the truth. At least that's what the one on the left told you. Super cool. The general concept of this actually reminds me of a GH7 medical analysis unit from Star Wars. Just kind of the general head structure and the idea of it kind of floating like that. You know, kind of looking almost sort of slightly robotic to some degree. Kind of just little notes like that. Thought they looked a little similar. Thought it was super cool. And I like that. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, using these Galidor pieces, it's amazing the ways that you can use this super obscure, odd Lego piece in some crazy weird ways, using these interesting arm pieces here on this body to form these eyes. And that's just from the actual socket connection piece that you normally put something into. You go, actually, those look like eyes, and so you do that. Or you use this uni head here as this sort of leg body piece that you could imagine. Maybe those teeth are, you know, little tiny feet that he walks on, or this guy actually hovers, very similar to the droid we were just looking at from Star Wars there. Who knows? But overall, very, very minuscule amount of pieces here. I would imagine it's only from sort of 1 or 2 sets, Uni and Allegra that we were talking about before, because that's the torso we were talking about on an earlier mock. Not too many pieces and not too much that you need to invest in if you're planning on buying some Galidor, or you may already have Uni, you never know. Not too much going on there, but some really, really creative, awesome character design that this has here, you know. Lots of personality behind it, really fun, goofy eyes and an awesome body structure. It's super cool to see. I love it. And that's the thing, right? This mock uses a super obscure, weird Lego theme, these weird Lego parts, but in some super creative and clever ways. Well, think what you could do with your collection. You may not have the weird, odd, exclusive, not really exclusive, but, you know, weird, odd, crazy, obscure Galidor pieces, but you might have some weird, crazy, obscure Bionicle pieces or some weird system pieces that you go, how the heck am I supposed to use this? Well, we take a look at this mock here, and he's used them in some pretty crazy, weird ways, but they look super cool and super clever, and awesome characters been made out of them. So maybe it's time to take a look at some of those weird pieces and go, ooh, what can I do with this? You know, I saw a system mock at a convention once. I might have told you this story before, but it was a while ago, so let's repeat it anyway. It was a really cool little spaceship mock that someone had made, and it ended up using some Harry Potter pieces. It was one of the Harry Potter roof pieces in sand green. It's this really obscure piece that it's quite large and weird, and you go, where the heck would you use that other than its original purpose of, you know, a roof piece on a Harry Potter castle? And this guy went, let's see what I can do. And he ended up sort of using the bits where you could sort of add the little 2 smaller towers on the sides there. He turned that into sort of like an engine thing. He made it the whole back of a spaceship, and then he built the front cockpit kind of coming out of it and stuff. It looked awesome. It was a really creative, clever idea, and basically he built it out of the challenge of, you can't use this piece in any way other than what it's intended. It's just a useless Lego part. He went, okay, challenge accepted. Let's see what I can do. So maybe that's the gauntlet that I'm throwing on the floor right now. I'm saying, you can't use this piece. And then you're going to look at me and you can say, you have much to learn, Ben Cossy. I will prove you wrong. And prove me wrong. Do it. I dare you. Prove me wrong. use some crazy weird pieces in some cool creative ways, just like this mock does here. And one of those crazy cool pieces is the thing in the torso here, and it's this piece, Galidor connector block 6x6x4 with 5 sockets and 1 dark grey pin. That's 5 connection points. You can put it in there. A lot of different connection points. And it's an interesting piece that can connect a whole bunch of different Galidor parts. Pretty cool. Very nice. Let's move on to the next mock. It's by Mitch Henry, and it's called Moose Season. So I like this. It's using one Galidor piece with a whole bunch of other system things. There's a lot of personality, and it's a really, really clever part use. So you might be like, what is that funky blue, medium blue, if you will? What is that funky medium blue piece there? Well, it is a Galidor torso Nepal. Nepal. This is from the set known as Nepal and Shimmel. It's a cool set. It's a funky looking set. Cute looking guy and all that sort of stuff. But this piece here, as Mitch Henry has done it, he's added those mixel eyes in there, and he's added these funky antler pieces here using those Fantoka villain Makuta sort of ribcage pieces. Really nice part use there. Looks super cool, doesn't it? Just really nice to see that using that piece in a funky way there. And looking at it now, I'm like, geez, of course it looks like a moose head. What else would you use it for? Love those kind of part usages. They're always awesome to see. So maybe that's something you want to do. You don't really care about building humanoid characters, but you love the idea of doing that. Making a funky bust, taxidermy bust that would go on the wall or something. Or you're a man that goes, kind of bored of making humanoids. Maybe I could branch out and do something else. Maybe you build like a spaceship that somehow uses some Galidor pieces. Or this, you build some accessories that you would see around the house, or maybe you build some life-size flowers or some sculptures or something interesting and out there. We always sort of go back to humanoid characters or sentient life forms, whether they're shaped like a human or not, with Bionicle, just because that's sort of what a lot of the natural designs lean to is sentient creatures or humanoids or whatever. That's what the theme is, isn't it? Construction, constructible action figures. Well, don't forget that sometimes you can branch out and do funky stuff like this, like a taxidermy bust on the wall and a rifle, a few other random things. Sure, it uses a whole bunch of different system, but this Galidor piece really ties it all together. It's super, super nice. I like it a lot. On to the next mock. This is by Prince Galidor. Let's welcome the royalty into here. Bow down before him. Prince Galidor, take a knee. And this is his mock. Ravagrahuf. Correct pronunciation. Probably. I like this mock a lot. I think this is an awesome example of using pieces in weird ways. We were just saying before, it doesn't have to even be Galidor pieces that you use in weird ways. But this mock uses a bunch of Galidor pieces in weird ways. Yes, sure, that's the focus of this episode. Maybe we'll do a separate episode on using pieces in weird ways. Besides the point, though, I love the concept of this. He's used this Uni head here. We've spoken about Uni a whole bunch. He's a cool Galidor set. Another one that I own. Really great guy. I've met him. He's a funky man. He smells a bit weird, but he's cool. Besides the point, jokes aside, the Uni head here has been used as a head, and it works well. It's meant for that, right? But the Uni head here has also been used as hands, and it works well, These claw kind of pincer things that kind of form the mouth on the head actually work well as actual claws or fingers of some kind. It's pretty cool. But then it's also been used again here on the feet. And again, those sort of pincer claw things actually work well as, little toes or something, or more claws or whatever. So it's cool to see that exact same part being used in 3 very distinct and very different ways. But also the fact that that part is repeated, it's really nice because you get this repeated texture, this beautiful texture on this head here, being repeated multiple times throughout this mock. And that's always awesome to see, in my opinion, because you have the principle of unity, one of those principles of design where kind of having certain elements or textures or shapes or sizes or whatever being repeated throughout a specific thing, whatever it is that you're making, it can kind of tie everything together nicely. Kind of puts a nice bow on it. Everything seems to flow and belong together, And so doing that, repeating this piece a whole bunch of different times, but finding different and distinct but different ways of using it works to your advantage because you have that nice sense of unity, the textures flow, everything looks nice. But also, you would just go on Bricklink and buy one piece 5 times, or maybe you happen to have 5 Uni sets. Well, here's a way that you can use all 5 of those heads. You never know. That's the thing too, I've inherited bulk collections in the past where somebody has gone and bought like 7 Onawas, and you go, what the heck am I going to do with 7 of this piece, Maybe do something like this, where you actually use that part in some distinct ways on the one thing, and then all the textures flow and everything, and it's super, super nice. Speaking of super nice, blue, white, and this dark red here, that looks really nice. I quite like that a lot, actually. So there you go. Prince Galidor, you're a king in my eyes. You made a good mock. Let's move on to the next mock here. It's by Leonid An and it's called Gens. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Ben, I don't have any Galidor. Why are you still talking about Galidor? To which I say, why did you watch the Galidor episode? But this mock by Leonid An, the chosen one, as it were, he's made Gens purely out of system. So maybe you like this whole Galidor thing. You're like, some of these character designs are actually pretty cool. Because they are. And you go, yeah, I'd love to, but I ain't got any money. I ain't gonna buy no Galidor, or I don't have any Galidor in my collection. Maybe you could build some of these characters using system pieces. And this mock does that very, very well. Take a look at this custom built head here using a whole bunch of different system pieces here to really perfectly articulate that. It's something I love to do. I of course build with a bit of system myself. Always awesome to do that, to sit down with a whole bunch of different pictures of a vehicle from Star Wars or the DeLorean from Back to the Future or anything, whatever it is, and go, I'm going to study this. I'm going to look at 1,000 different pictures of it, all the different angles. How can I integrate that in Lego? And you go, this bit kind of actually looks a bit like this piece. Let me try this. And you get something cool, a perfect recreation of something from some form of media or the real world or whatever. It's a fun challenge to do, and might be an even more fun challenge to do it with a Bionicle set and replicate it in system. It could be a fun way to play around with some system pieces and get a little bit more used to them. Maybe you love seeing these skilled builders play around with their system and you want to do the same. Maybe this is a fun challenge, a unique challenge that could get you a little bit more familiar with those parts. I love this pincer blaster kind of arm here, though. It uses these funky wire pieces here. Forms this really, really nice look to it. Really kind of mechanical, interesting details to it. Very, very nice, I think. You could easily do something like that on a Bionicle mock too. Get a bunch of wire pieces and create this really robotic look to it. Super cool. And I know what you're saying. You're like, Ben, this is the Bionicle Inspiration Series. I ain't going to use system. To which I say, okay, well maybe you could use Bionicle to recreate Galidor. The exact same concept, but with very little system. This is a mock by Alex Mertens and it's called Shimmel. So we saw Shimmel before in that set, Neopol and Shimmel. So this is just Shimmel. And here is the set, of course, in its Galidor form. And then this is Alex's mock, recreating it, mainly using some little bits of system, but a lot of different Bionicle and CCBS pieces here, and really effectively recreating it, in my opinion. I think he's done a great job here. It's cool to see that Rakshi piece there being used to form the leg. The mask there, the mask there in medium blue on the sort of front leg there, just the general shape of it, does actually very effectively form the sort of curvature that you would see on a body limb of some kind. It's really, really nice and super cool. So again, like I said before, another fun challenge you could easily do of attempting to replicate a set, mainly using those sorts of pieces. So that's been 8 Galidor mocks today in this Galidor themed episode, and we had touched upon just the concepts of playing around with pieces in some funky ways and seeing how you can use some of those more obscure pieces. Because honestly, that's the thing with Galidor, isn't it? A lot of these sets have these weird and odd pieces, and with the mocks that we just saw, they almost seem to just lend themselves to really creative and effective nice part usages, right? So maybe that's something to do. Buy some Galidor sets or use the ones that you currently have and hone your skills in creating nice part usages. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to check out the links in the description to some of the mocks that you saw in today's episodes. Give those guys some love and check out some of the other stuff they've made. They're talented builders. Also, while you're there, you can see a submission email. This is the email that you're currently seeing on the screen. If you want to submit some of your own mocks to the show, you want to put some of your own stuff on the Bionicle Inspiration Series, you can send an email, send some pictures, some information, whatever else you want to put on that email. Send that to me, and one day it'll appear on the show. Obviously, we've got a lot of submissions to work through, but if you've submitted it, I'll do my best to put it on the show as soon as I can. Also, my links are in the description there. If you want to check out some of the other stuff I do, that's where you can check it out. Hope you enjoyed this special episode of the Bionicle Inspiration Series. It's not really a special episode. I just said that because every episode of the Bionicle every episode is special in my eyes. Hope you enjoyed. My chair is squeaking. Sounds like I'm farting. I'm not, I promise. Happy building. See you in the next one. Bye for now. It's time for some chair squeaking. When I want you to squeak, you don't squeak. But when I don't want you to squeak, you do squeak. Come on, squeak. There you go. There you go. Now, come on. No, come on. I wanted to close out the episode with some squeaking. Squeak when I tell you to. I'm just going to end the episode in shame. No chair squeaking for you. Happy building. Bye for now.